everyone, welcome back to this channel, Self-Care for the Body, Mind and Spirit. This video is a follow-up on a series of videos about workplace mobbing. There have been a positive response to these videos, and I'm very pleased and happy that some people found it helpful. To be honest, I didn't expect that so many people would view, that the video would get so many views. So it seems like it's a topic that hits a nerve that many people experience. And so there were a few comments on these videos on workplace mobbing that were asking me some questions, and I would like to address them in more detail. So the first question, I saw it today, Robbie G, and I've been thinking about it. I just took a walk and I was thinking about it, and I thought it's a very nice question, so it's worthwhile to make a video about that because other people may wonder about it too. So Robbie G is asking, so you provide a great rationale at 544 that the mobbing occurs as a result of a mismatch in values. Can you explain why this creates mobbing? It seems bizarre that the collaborative person is the one labeled difficult or crazy. So just to kind of give you a background, the video to which Robbie G is referring to is called Phases of Workplace Mobbing, and it's linked down below in the description of this video. And in that video, it's just an explanation of what workplace mobbing is and what are its phases. And this is not the first time when I heard people asking why does it occur? So first of all, I want to kind of go back to that book to which I was referring to in that other video. So the first researcher who coined the term workplace mobbing was Heinz Leinmann. And the reason why he used the word mobbing was because this was the term that was used for the situations where there would be a group of smaller animals when they're attacked by a bigger animal. So just imagine a group of, I don't know, smaller monkeys, and they're attacked by, say, a tiger. I do not know if that actually happens in real life. I'm just kind of giving you an example. It does happen in real life, but I'm just not sure whether it happens with monkeys and a tiger. Does it make sense? It does happen with some groups of animals. So it's just the monkeys would just get together and they would shout very loud and they would make a lot of noise, and then the tiger would run away because there are so many of the monkeys. So mobbing originally was a term to show protective behavior, when a group of animals would try to protect themselves from a perceived threat, right? So they would all get together and they would expel whatever animal they thought was a threat to them. So this example in itself, it kind of explains why mobbing occurs, is when a group of individuals perceive another individual, the target of mobbing, as a threat. Now, is that individual the target of mobbing? Are they really a threat to that group? Probably not, but it is possible to perceive an individual as a threat when they are not. So now let me kind of dive in deeper to explain why is it that we may perceive somebody a threat when they are really not. So first of all, what may happen is like a power dynamics. So let's say that Jim has a conflict with a boss, say Kathy, and Kathy wants to get rid of Jim, and she thinks that Jim is a bad person. And so everybody else around Kathy, they know that Kathy is the boss and she has power over them. And so this is how Jim becomes a threat to them, because they may feel that if they align with Jim, Kathy will think that they took his side in the conflict, and she may retaliate against them. So this is how they may perceive Jim as a threat. Now, there is a more covert way of how we can perceive somebody as a threat, and it has to do with values. So the primary goal and role of a culture it's like a set of beliefs and how things are done in a certain group of people, is to sort of protect us from the uncertainty in which we are in the universe, right? Because as a human being, we are born to this earth and we are mortal, and it's not that much fun to think about those things if you really give a thought to them. And so when we are submerged into some kind of a culture and a set of values, it makes us feel safer. So as we grow up, we adopt a set of values. So imagine a bunch of people living in some village, and among many other values, they believe that you have to paint your house in a blue color, right? So it's just a very hypothetical example. And it makes them safer, it gives them a sense of belonging, they know that they belong to this community, they support each other, and there are many other wonderful things that they do. But there is one odd perk about the culture of that particular village, it is that they paint their houses into a blue color. And now somebody moves into that village and they just didn't know any better, they painted their house into a green color. And it stands out, it's completely different from what everybody else does. And then the question is, wow, so they painted their house into a green color. Number one, should I have painted my house into a green color? Is it okay to paint the house in a blue color? Was I wrong in having painted my house into a blue color? Is everybody else that our village does, is it wrong? So all of a sudden, this option of painting the house into a green color appears in front of the person who has lived in this village for their entire life, and they have never thought that they could have done something differently. And it may seem like a small thing, but it can uncover the existential anxiety, because all of a sudden this protective dome of the culture and the values of this village, of this group of people, it has been pierced by the very small act of somebody painting their house into a green color, because all of a sudden everything else is in question. Have I been believing in the following the right kind of religion? Have I been eating the right type of diet? Have I been doing this or that right? All of a sudden, with this green color on somebody else's house, there may come a realization that everything else I've been doing, I've never questioned why I've been doing it that way. And maybe it's not the only way to do things, and maybe I've been wrong. And what am I gonna do with this person who does everything differently, right? Is that person a threat? Let's now kind of shift gears and think about what happens. So this question from Robbie G says, it seems bizarre that the collaborative person is the one labeled difficult or crazy. So there is a group of people who have been working in the same institution, and mind it, institution itself has a culture. So if you come into a workplace, it's not just these people who have a culture, just the individuals, but that workplace, if it's an older workplace, if it has been there for 50, 60, 70, 100 years, it has its own culture, right? So each time somebody new is hired, they are indoctrinated into that culture. And so let's just suppose that the workplace has a competitive culture, and all of a sudden this person comes and they're collaborative. So they don't want to do, let me just explain also what I mean by collaborative. It means that they do not engage in contest of power. They do not want to come on top all the time. They share their ideas. They do not keep their ideas to themselves. And getting praise or whatever it is, the prize in the competitive culture is not the most important thing for them. So the prize in a competitive culture, it may be money, salary, it may be promotion, it may be high score on evaluation, whatever it is, because if there is a competition, it means there is a prize. And a collaborative person is not going to care so much about the prize, they're going to care about doing a good job. And so when they come, they challenge by their behavior, by how they think, by how they act, by how they feel. They challenge the rest of the people in the workplace. They challenge their values. Like, well, so is competitiveness? Maybe it's not the only way to go. Maybe I should be more collaborative. But then, if I am more collaborative, am I not going to get a prize? So you can see how that can make the rest of the people in the group uncomfortable. And it can be anything. It doesn't have to be collaboration. It can be the color of their skin. It can be that they are religious. It can be any other value. It doesn't have to be collaboration. So the point is that if everybody else is different and that person comes in and they paint their house in green color, in metaphorical terms, they sort of broach the dome or the protective dome of the values of the people around them, and all of a sudden they have to question, have I been doing things the right way? Now, a healthy response to this questioning is, yes, well, maybe I have not been doing them well, and maybe I need to change, or maybe I do not agree with that, and I'm going to stick to my values, but I'm going to collaborate with this person anyway, and because what matters is that we are going to do a good job. Unhealthy response is that threat, that perceived threat of that one person who came into the environment and questioned the values, is that threat is not even brought into the conscious level. So sometimes people did not realize on the conscious level, did not realize, oh, this house is green and it makes me uncomfortable and it makes me want to question my values. Sometimes people don't realize that. They think that I'm angry with my neighbor and that they're a bad person and they should not live in this village because they're ABCD, right? And they never realize why they feel that way about that person. So it is not a very healthy response. However, let us not judge the people who engage in that response, because we all do that from time to time. We all have parts of our personality that is unconscious, right? So that has been the great hypothesis that has been around for a long time, and I believe that it is true, that each and every one of us has an unconscious, and it is confirmed merely by the fact that our brain is a wonderful computer inside of our head. It's a biological computer, but our brain cannot process every single piece of information that we receive through our senses every single moment of time. So there is a lot of information that comes in through our senses that our brain doesn't process. And so that is one confirmation why there is a reason why there should be something that is unconscious, that is kind of, we receive that information but we haven't processed it, right? Now there are theories, psychoanalytic theories, that postulate that we have in our personality, we have the superego, we have the ego, and then we have the id, the unconscious self. And this id is something that we always strive to tame, and it's a part of us that strives for survival, for pleasure, and also has some of this destructive anger in it, and so we always try to tame it, but it's in us, right? And so sometimes what happens in mobbing is that this id might be acting out in this group of people. And so basically the way I believe is why mobbing occurs is that basically a group of people becomes really uncomfortable with somebody because they perceive them as a threat, and so then they engage in a group behavior to expel that person from the group, because once the person is gone, they believe, the group believes that it will feel safer. And when I say group believes, it's not that like they get together and they have a meeting and they say that's we believe. It's kind of mostly unconscious behavior. Now, what is really bizarre and irrational about it is that once one person is expelled, there will be somebody next in line, because it is an unhealthy type of behavior that needs to be addressed, that needs to be brought up to the conscious level so that it stops. Because once the person that was labeled as difficult is gone, there will be another target. And then after that, there will be another target, because this group acts in such a way that it always chooses somebody to blame for its own problems. So that is another reason why mobbing occurs, is when there is a culture where we do not want to bring up the problems of the workplace, the problems of this group, the inefficiency, the lack of productivity. We do not want to talk about that. We do not want to bring that into question. So we always find somebody else to blame, and we always focus on some kind of imaginary conflict so that we do not have to really grapple with our own inefficiencies, with our own incompetencies, with our own lack of ability to address the problems that come our way. So if you continue to target somebody and shift the blame on somebody all the time, you can continue to believe that I'm perfect, I'm good, and these people, they are the ones who are creating all of the problems. So here you have another reason why mobbing occurs. Now, I did post, there is a video that I did a while ago about why emotional abuse occurs, and so I will link that video down below and you can watch that too. You know, I explain why I believe that mobbing occurs, and this is my personal opinion, and also I have all of the examples I have given here, they are completely hypothetical, including the village and the blue houses. And so this is my personal opinion, and I encourage you to think for your own self about these questions, because this is the type of thing that is good to kind of understand in your own self and to kind of feel it on an emotional level. I didn't really provide any help here in this video about how to deal with workplace mobbing, but there are other videos that I've done on this topic, and I'm going to link them down below as well. That have some advice about how to deal with emotional abuse, with narcissistic abuse, and with workplace mobbing. So again, I want to thank everyone who left the comments on the videos about workplace mobbing, everybody who watched them. If you have experienced workplace mobbing, my heart goes out to you. It's a horrible experience and it can be devastating, but you can survive it. And you can build a better life for yourself and a better career. And I wish well for you. And if you like this video, please support my work. Please subscribe to this channel. And have a good day. Bye.